Hello, and welcome to Pregnant at 48, the things your mom didn't tell you and your friends don't talk about. I am your host, Dee Dee, and our topic for today is life with an aging parent. And with that, I will turn it over to my guest to introduce herself.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Annette.
Okay, so can you tell us about what life was like growing up with your parents and your siblings?
Okay. So let me start by saying my parents were a little older than my friend's parents. So they were in the older age group. So there were a lot of things I couldn't get away with. They were a little bit more strict. But I had a very good childhood. Very good childhood. Of course, at that time, I thought, my parents don't want me to do anything. I can't get this. I can't get that. But they did a great job at raising us. And I couldn't ask for more. I really couldn't. And of course, I'm able to look back on things as I was growing up and I feel like, okay, I had a great childhood. I did.
Okay, now you grew up a daddy's girl.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
So tell us about the relationship you had with your father.
My father was a pistol. All my friends that I grew up with could tell you that he did not hold back and he lived his life on his own terms. He really did. He would always try to instill in me like don't worry about what people think and what they say, but you know, of course now that reigns a lot and it reigns true to me now, but then it was just like, but dad, you don't understand. But my dad, he really did. He didn't care what anybody thought. He did what he wanted to do. He made sure we had a good life. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure bills were paid. What did he used to say? We got food on the table, got clothes on your back, and you got a roof over your head. And back then, I would hate to hear that all the time, but now I have my own home and my own bills and things, and I get it. When you have those basic needs fed, that's all you need. And he made sure we had, those needs fed.
All right. Now, what was your relationship like with your mom when you were younger?
Now, my relationship with my mom was a little bit different. It was more of, I'm not one of your little friends. People make those jokes and they have those memes going around on the internet. My mother said those words true to us. I mean, it was, I'm not one of your friends. So, like these girls now, they have a totally different relationship with their moms. I didn't have that. My mother wasn't, at that time, I felt like my mother was so strict. And to me, she was, but she really wasn't. She was just trying to shield us from a lot of things that were going on that we were very naive about. And so our relationship, it wasn't a bad one. It was just a mother daughter relationship. There was no friendship there. That's the one thing that I wish that we would have had. I mean, we had it as I got older, became a young adult, and that was good. But as a kid, as a teenager, it's nothing like what these girls have now. My mother was like, I'm the mom, you're the daughter, and you ask questions, it's like, because I said so. Like, that is the mother that I had. But of course, I look back and I go, it was all love.
Yeah, it was. It was. Now, did your relationship with your mom change after you lost your father?
It did. It did because I saw her differently. You know, she had this man in her life for over 51 years and he was no longer there. So once I had that thought in my mind, I did look at her a lot differently. And this became a time where we ended up spending a lot of time with each other, a lot more time. But this time I'm a young adult. And so I was able to learn some things about her and we were able to kind of grow with each other. um, my mother was still like, oh, though. She still was, she wanted you to do things the way that she wanted you to do them. And that was the only thing about her. She just, she still wanted to give you that motherly advice and be that mom. And that's never going to stop. That's never going to stop. But me being a young adult, I was just like, I need to go out and spread my wings. But at least I had that time with her to grow as a young adult and get to know her and enjoy those moments.
Yeah, I think it's important to enjoy those moments, like you said, because time passes, time passes, things happen, situations change. So let's fast forward to today.
Mhm.
You know, your mom's older, we're older. So can you tell us about what's going on with you and your mom?
Now my mother is in her mid to, I don't want to say late stages because she still got her wits about herself. My mother is she has dementia, um, and it's a little hard to deal with. But she has her days. She has good days and bad days, and she has her good days where my mother is there. So it's not as tragic or sad. It is still sad to see my mother going through the stages that she's going through, but she has her moments where she pops out and my mother is there, and those are the moments I treasure. All the moments, but those are the moments that I treasure the most. And she'll say some of the quirky stuff that she used to say, and my sister and I will go, "Mom's there. Yep, she's there."
Okay, we're gonna we're gonna take a break, guys, and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. So, Annette, let's go ahead and continue.
Okay.
We took ourselves a moment, so we'll go ahead and continue. We'll go back again to the beginning.
Okay.
So, when did your mom start showing signs of dementia?
Let me say this. My mother actually knew. It was kind of early when it started, but it wasn't as much as it is now. When it started, my mother had a conversation with me, and she said, she realized that she was putting things in different places. Now, my mother was always known for hiding money, like in the Bible, in certain places. Like we knew that, but she said one day to me, I found some money. I knew I had some money somewhere. She said, and I found it under my mattress. The next time she found it under my pillow. And she was like, and I know I wouldn't have, why would I have done that? She said, and this runs in our family. Her aunts had it. And they were the aunts that knew everybody and their kids. She could name you and all your kids and everybody and all their kids in the family. She could do that. You would come in the house, both of them, and you come in and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're such and such's daughter," and da da da. They would do that, and then it got to a point where they wouldn't even recognize you when you came in. And so my mother, when it happened to her, she kept telling me something's not right. And she said, I'm putting money in different places. I'm finding stuff in places that shouldn't be. She was like, so she wanted to have this conversation with me to tell me where everything was, where the safe key was, because she knew that she was starting to have, these symptoms. And so at this time, she was really wanting us to come around a lot more, which we were doing. And she would always say, I forgot to do this, or I didn't remember that. And I would blow it off as, well, Mom, you're getting older. I said, I forget things sometimes too, because I have a habit of, and I did it with my dad, I have a habit of being in denial when I see something happening. And she knew it and she kept saying. And as it progressed, she would say, like for instance, she would probably ask you the same question repeatedly. And she would say, forgive me. Did I ask you that already? So she would know. This was maybe late 60s, early 70s. My mother's 88 now. And so as it progressed, even from there, um, my mother still had an idea that something was going on. She knew that it was going on. Even to this day, she have moments where she would say, "You have to forgive me. Sometimes I forget." And that's hard to see. It's hard to deal with. And I always look back on when she initially told me. And you always want to think, is there something that I could have done during that time? And there's nothing that you can really do. But just love on them a whole lot more, and just be aware and just take care of them and love them. When they get to this stage, they're like little kids or like toddlers. I don't have any children, but I can only imagine what it's like for people who have kids. And this is just them reverting back to childlike behavior, the things that they do, and they get to the point where you have to really take care of them. That's hard to do, but eventually to get through it, you just have to have a lot of patience, and you have to, take your time and just love them each day. You have to forgive me. I'm just gonna be honest. It's a little hard.
I understand. I I understand in the sense that I've been with you for some of it, not all of it. And I understand how it's emotional. So if we need to take a break, we'll take another break. Do we need to take a break?
No.
Okay. All right. So you had mentioned like there were stages where she put things where she wouldn't normally put them and find them. And then, another stage where she asks you a question and then ask again. Um, and you had mentioned that you were in denial. What was that realization like for you when you realized that this is real?
That realization didn't come to me until later. Because every time I would go visit, we would have this conversation about, she's like, I'm not remembering this and that. And I can vividly see those conversations happening even now in my head, where I would just try to blow it off. So when I did come to that realization, I think I had a birthday party for her. And I wanted everybody to get together. And so that's when I realized I just want her to see everybody while her mind was still fresh, and I just remember her having a great time, and her just looking at everybody. She made a comment like, she said, I'm not gonna remember this. And that was hard to hear. And when I finally even when I came to the realization, like, eventually her mind's going to deteriorate even more, it still hadn't even hit me yet. It still had not really hit me yet.
Okay, so in that, tell us, when did it hit you, or has it hit you?
You know what? Like I said, when she mentioned it to me from the very beginning, it hadn't hit me. And even throughout, when she would always like repeat herself and would say, please forgive me, I may have already asked you this, or it hit me, but it still hadn't really hit me. And it wasn't until right before we moved her out this way. That's when it hit me. I realized, okay, all my sister, my brother, and myself, we always had discussed that when it got to the time where she couldn't take care of herself, okay, it's time for the girls to step in because she, my brother stayed with her, but she was still, she could still drive, she could still do things. Um, One day she had gotten lost from church, and that was the last time she drove. She found her way back eventually, but that was the last time she drove. So at that point, my brother was making sure she was good, getting back and forth to church, and she stopped cooking. He would cook, so she could still take care of herself, but he was there just to, just keep an eye on her. So it didn't hit me until the latter years where, we doing our normal visit and it just came to the realization like we have to take care of her. She can't take care of herself anymore. So that's when it really, really hit me like, okay, at some point she's gonna have to come back. Now it hit me, but I think it wasn't until she was actually out here living with us that it was like, oh wow, this is for real. Like, because it happens so fast. It happens so fast. The progression of the deterioration of the mind. It happens so quickly. Even now, she's 88 now, like I said, and even now, with each day, you see. I see it a decline, but I feel like because she's in this adult daycare, it's helping a lot. Where it's there, but it's not as bad. You get to see the glow of my mother. You get to see she's in good. She was always in good spirits, and even during this, she's in good spirits because she doesn't know sometimes, where she is and what she's doing. But she's always in good spirits. So that's when I realized it. It was like, okay, by the time she got here, like I said, right before then, I knew it. And then, it was like, okay, she has to come out here. And that's when it was like, wow, this is really happening. Like, this is really happening. It was happening so fast.
When you moved her out here,
Mhm.
what was that like for her? And what was it like for you all? Because you're used to, you know, doing your thing,
Mhm.
living on your own. What was it like for her, and what was it like for you all?
Let me say this. If you are dealing with somebody who's going through dementia, Alzheimer's, you have to be patient with them because when they're going through this, they're used to a certain routine, they're used to their own environment. My mother lived in our childhood home in the city. So that's why we weren't so quick to move her from there because she could still take care of herself. She was in a familiar setting. And even though when I moved out to a different area, I moved to the suburbs and I wanted her to move out. This is before her mind really deteriorated. I wanted her to move out here with me, and she didn't want to. And it took a coworker to say to me, "Well, she wants that independence," and I had to abide that. I was like, "You had to abide by that." I'm like, "You know what? She does." And my brother was there, so I felt comfortable. But you have to be careful when you do that. When you take them out of a normal environment, I think that speeds up the progression of the definition of the mind, and it does. I believe in that. I wholeheartedly believe in that. Not to say it's not going to happen, but it happens faster because now you move them out of a normal environment. You put them in an environment that they're not used to. I mean, yes, she will come out and visit, but now, at some point she's like, I want to go home. I want to go home. And it's like, no, this is home now. So this is when I'm noticing the declination is coming faster because she doesn't know where she is, and she has to get used to this. She has to get used to this environment all over again, and that is the one thing I hate that I had to do. That we had to do. I keep saying, there were three of us. She has three children, and then I hated that we, had to make that decision, but we knew that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. But we also knew that this, could be a setback too, and it kind of was. But I will say this: when we did move her out here from the city to the burbs with us. It didn't take long for her to finally get used to the fact that this is home. Because she would say for at least about a month or so, like, okay, I'm ready to go home, I'm ready to go home. And we have to keep saying, well, this is home. This is home. And so even now, she's still not used to this being home, but she knows, like, this is where I lay my head. This is, and once you remind her, I still have regular conversations with her just so she can feel some type of normalcy. And I would say, you are home. And she goes, I'm home? Okay. Her thing is, if my baby say I'm home, then I'm home. And it's so hard to see that. It's so hard to watch them go through this. I'm glad that we did it because we had to, but I'm sad that we did it because it's it's not her. It's her home, but it's not what she's used to. That's what I'm trying. It's not what she's used to, so it's hard. And it is a little difficult to talk about. I will say that it's a little difficult to talk about because I'm going through this in real time. I'm going through this in real time, and uh, every day is a journey, but every day is a blessing. And I say for anybody that is going through this, you're going to need support. You're going to, but more importantly, you have to be patient with them. You have to love them.
All right, so Annette, another question for you. I've heard this term sundown. What exactly does that mean?
To put it quite simply, it's when there's a certain time of the day where they're like, now they're starting to really not remember. Because they could be in good spirits and talking, and then let's say it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden they're just kind of, really forgetful, tired. This is when they're just now it's time for them to rest. They're tired. They don't remember a lot. So that's the simplest way to put that. We would know like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, okay, mom's sundowning because she's not remembering something or she's repeating something. She doesn't know where she is all of a sudden. She could even get a little agitated. That's when you know, like, okay, they're sundowning. But that's the simplest way for me to put that.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Now, on to the next question. So you mentioned patience. I'd like to come back to that. So if we could just pause there for a second and go back to what was it like for you all when your mom moved in? We talked about what it was like for her, but what was it like for you all?
It's definitely an adjustment, especially when you're used to. For me, I don't have any children. My sister, she doesn't have any children. So we're able to go and do as we please. But now we have what I like to call is my baby, my child, our child with us now. So that changes things. Just like when you have a kid, you can't be out and about like you were at one time. And it's an adjustment. It definitely is an adjustment when you're used to. And I got to be honest, for me, it was more of a what is happening right now because when you sign up for this, you really don't know what you signed up for. In my mind, when I knew she was gonna have to come out here, okay, that's great. I work from home. I can keep her during the day. It's not a problem. But I didn't realize what came with that. It's not, okay, she's just going to be watching TV or just doing her thing and it's good. You have to watch her because she's in a whole new environment. So now she's going around and she's exploring. And those of us who care for dementia patients, you already know sometimes they will pick up an item, put it somewhere. They can't tell you where they put it. So you have to 24/7. You have to watch them. You really do. And I really wasn't aware of that. So that took a toll on me. So it was taking a toll on my work because I would have to stop working to just give her time and attention because I can't give her time and attention because I still have to work. So it's definitely an adjustment. having to take off work sometimes. Like my sister has to take off work because she still goes into the office and I don't. So she'll have to take off her doctor's appointments and things, or you know, when she had to go into the hospital at one time, we had to not, take some time off to take care of our moms. But we both have jobs that were very understanding about family, and they were like, hey, take care of your mom. But it's an adjustment because now your life it is different. The first this is the it's been a year now since my mom has been living out here with us, and so that first year we were just kind of bumping our heads against the wall trying to figure things out, how to do stuff. Now we're in 2025, and now we're more comfortable with trying to do a little self-care for ourselves. We both feel like, okay, now we kind of understand and kind of got a handle on our mom. So now we can do some things for ourselves. Take the time to, okay, I have her so she can do something. She has her so I can do something. We share in the responsibilities, and we have to do that because my sister and I both felt like we have to do some self care because if we can't take some time for ourselves, we can't be there for her in the way that she needs us, and that does ring true. So we're going into this over a year of caring for our mom, and now it's easier to take care of her. And at the same time, we're trying to make adjustments for ourselves. It's a little hard, but we're still in the beginning stages of doing it, but we are doing it, and it is an adjustment, and it's hard, but it's doable.
What is different today than a year ago? Even with how she is from a dementia standpoint, like has it progressed? Is it about the same? What is it like?
You know what? To be honest, I would say it's about the same. It has progressed, but we know how to handle it now. Whereas before we had no clue what we're doing. And I can speak for myself on this. Like my sister jumped in with both feet. She just knew how to I say she knew how to handle it. She'll say, girl, no, I didn't. But from where I was standing, she was handling it way better than I was. Because now I didn't know how to be patient. I didn't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to speak to them in a very loving, soft tone. You have to be careful of how you do things with them. And so I'm finally at that point where you have to show a lot of empathy because they don't know what they're going through. They don't know what they're doing. My mother sometimes will say things like, I didn't do anything bad. I didn't hurt anybody, did I? And my mother's the sweetest person on earth,
Mm-hmm.
but she knows, even to this day, like I said, she knows something's not right. And she'll still say, every blue moon, she'll say, you have to forgive me. Sometimes I don't remember. And so she'll say things like, I didn't say anything bad. She wants to be careful. And it's so cute, but at the same time, it's like, no, mom, you didn't do anything. You didn't say anything. And even if she did, because she's human and she's going through this journey, when they have this disease, they have moments where they're irritated, agitated. You don't want to agitate them because they will get angry. Even if they have never had an angry bone in their body, they will be angry and they will, get a little hostile. You cannot get hostile with them. You cannot do that. And to see my mother getting hostile because I'm telling her no to something, it's like, oh my God, this is not even my mother. This is not her. When she was in the hospital and they were trying to put tubes in her, and it was just to see her go through that. And she was angry, and I'm like, don't you guys see she's angry? I said she would never go to the hospital as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know they did their best, but you really have to know how to handle a dementia patient. And they were trying to treat her as a regular patient, and you can't do that. So you really have to. I tell you, you have to have patience. You do, and I'm just coming into my season of understand how to handle that. And I think that's why now my sister and I both have a handle on how to treat her. But there's still some things that we don't know because she can't articulate when something is wrong. You just know when she's agitated, irritated, something is wrong. Something is going on. She could be hurting and she's not telling you, or she'll tell you, and sometimes she can't articulate, my head hurts. She'll say something else like, oh, that cup over there is hurting, or that cup fell. And she's trying to tell you she's hurting. You have no clue what she's talking about. And she'll get irritated because you're like, what? And she'll go, never mind, because she knows what she's trying to say, but she can't say it. So these are little things that I'm throwing out there that you can't get irritated. You can't get like, it's exhausting, but you just can't let her see it, and you can't be upset because she can't tell you something. It's just like, again, I have to keep saying I don't have kids, but I can only imagine that it's like when you have a newborn and they're crying and they're fussy and you don't know why. They can't tell you. Same thing. Same thing.
And when you're talking about having the patience, and when they get agitated, when you think about from an energy standpoint, your energy can't match their energy. So if they're agitated, you can't get agitated because it's going to be like opposite forces. The only time you want your energy to match theirs is when it's positive energy.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Now, what about the forgetting, or when they ask you things over and over and over? How do you handle that? Do you say, you already asked me that?
Don't do that. I used to do that. I used to do that. You already asked me that. But it was out of habit. And I had to condition my mind and go, you have to remember she's going through a difficult journey. She's going to do that. So you can't, if you have to get acclimated to the point where just sometimes you just have to answer that question 5 times. You just have to. If she asks 5, answer it 5.
What about the wanting to go places? Or, hey, let's go here. Or, hey, I want to go to the store. Or, hey, I'm going to the store.
Now, there was a point and there was a time where she could do that with us. We could take her in the store, and I mean, she could move around as fast, but that was an outing. Let's go to the store. But now we can't do that because she's older and she gets exhausted a lot quicker. So my mother was always the type that was on the go. She was always on the go. And she's in her mind, there are times where she's like, well, where are we going? What are we gonna do? And she wants to do something, but the thing is, it's so much that comes with that if we take her somewhere. And before you can finish the car ride somewhere, she's like, I'm ready to go home. So I want her to get that air and come out and do things, but we just can't do it for as long. And sometimes it's just a car ride. Sometimes it's just, let's go ride in a car. I've driven to Orland or Tinley or out somewhere, only to just turn back around. And now I do that with the intention of, with the knowing that we're gonna have to turn back around. Whereas before I'm like, well, maybe, if she gets in the store, she'll come alive. And she's like, I'm not. And this time my mother's here, I'm not falling, walking right. I'm tired. And I'm like, oh, my mom's here. But that's the difficult part because I know she wants to do the things that she used to do, like just get out. And just a simple car ride excites her. She's like, ooh, she's looking at the cars and the people. And that's another thing. Everybody's different. She doesn't like to be around a lot of people. If she sees a lot of cars on the road, she wants to go back home. So, like I said, this is a work in progress. Like trying to figure things out with her, but it's just certain things that, like I said, car rides. If that's what she wants to do, let's get in the car and we can ride, and then we'll come back. And then she's tired. She's ready to take a nap or go to sleep. And I just wish that she could do the things that she used to do, even just simple things like going to the restaurant and eating. Last year for her birthday, we had a big breakfast with the family, and her nieces and things and cousins came out, and it was great. When she was done eating, she was ready to go. And I think that was the last time we were able to really sit in a restaurant and just eat. Because like I said, now to care for her is a lot more difficult. And so it's just right now she's getting out walking because it's still want to have that exercise. So you know when it's nice out, we can get out and we can walk to the corner and back. Well, the blocks out here long, so we can't do around the block. But just getting out and getting her some air. Like I can't really wait until summertime comes because I just want her to get out, sit on the patio, or just get some refreshing air and just feel alive again. But like I said, she's in good spirits. But if you have a family member going through this, just be patient and just, take the time to try to learn because not only do you have to have patience and understanding and love for, the person that's going through this, but also the caregiver.
Did you have resources that help you to navigate this? How did you figure it out?
When I tell you this is the hardest, I think this is the hardest part of the journey because dealing with it's a load of shit. I'm just gonna say it is. They're not the most helpful, and I get it. They're understaffed. They really are understaffed, and I'm new to this. Some of us are new to this, so we don't know where to go, where to start, what to do. We don't know, so we had to figure this stuff out. We had to figure this out, and to have to rely on these departments through the government is bullshit at the end of the day. I'm just gonna keep it real. It is. They're not helpful. They're rude. Um, they don't explain things, thoroughly. So if you know somebody is going through this and they've been through it, man, if you can get as much information as you can from them, because we went through this like seriously blindly because we were just told, hey, just go to this department, call these people, but none of them were helpful. And to even get any resources takes months. It's just by the grace of God that my sister and I are able to take care of the needs that she needed financially. But what about the people that don't have the finances to do this? I feel bad. I feel awful to have to deal with someone going through this journey, and then on top of that, the people that and the things that are supposed to help you are not available to you, are not being explained to you. I think that's the worst part. That's the worst part of this journey to me. That, and I'm laughing, but I'm laughing to keep from crying because that's the worst part of this journey to have to deal with these people. I wish there were protocols in place or resources in place that could be the middleman that could navigate you through these things, as opposed to what we had gotten even through the doctor's offices. Oh, this person's going to be your advocate and they're going to do this for you. You know what that advocate would do? Oh, well, call this number, call that number, do this, and if you need me for anything, that was the reason why I called you. Because you're supposed to be the advocate. I'm advocating for myself out here. So I'm gonna say it. It's full of shit. It really is. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it is. That's how I feel about it. It makes me so angry that anybody had to deal with them. And you already got to deal with, trying to figure out this person and what they're going through. And then the people that's supposed to help me are not helpful.
What do you know now regarding help, support, or what have you? What do you know now that you wish you knew a year ago?
I gotta be honest with you, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. The only saving grace that my sister and I have right now is that she's in this adult daycare center called, I have to put that out there. They have been a blessing because they keep her active and, it gives me time to work during the day. And like I said, I'm still learning because still going through the system and going through the system, it still sucks. I'm trying my best not. I'm trying to use the best language that I can, but there's nothing good to say about dealing with resources that they have in place for this. You know, if anybody out there knows of some, put it out here. Put it in the comment section so others that are looking will know. Um, but I'm still going through it. We are. I keep saying but we're still going through it. Can't get benefits for. Like I said, it's a blessing that my sister and I are able to do this financially for her, but we still have our own that we have to take.
You have responsibilities.
Yeah, we have our own responsibilities. So it's a lot, but we're gonna do what we have to do for her. But at the end of the day, these resources that they have out here, they need to be revamped. They really do.
All right, now, and closing, final words, final thoughts, no, words of wisdom that you like to share for someone that may be experiencing something similar.
It's gonna take some time, but have patience with yourself and with your loved one. And if you're in the beginning stages of this, when I say love on your loved one, love on them, spend as much time, even if they're not going to do it, make the memories. Make the memories because that person's memory is going to be gone and you want something to hold on to while you're going through it. But it's somebody out there. You got some friends or you got some people out there that can possibly help you. If you, even on this broadcast, get in the comment section and say you need some help because somebody's gonna be out there that can give you the information that you need. I wish I'm still looking for that. If you got some information, put it down there. But right now, like I said, this daycare is a blessing to us, really is. But please, for the love of God, have patience with these people because they don't know that they're putting you through a lot. They're not trying to. Just think, if you're going through it, just think what they're going through. They don't know what's happening to them and they want to know. They don't know. Don't be mad at them. Don't blame them. Please don't. They don't know. Just love on them and do the best that you can. If you got friends and family that will really support you, because you will have people that will say, "Oh, I'll be there," and they're not. And you can't blame. Everybody has life is lifing. We say that it's a cliche, but it's the truth. But if you have somebody that's gonna listen to you, sometimes you need to vent. If you know somebody that's going through the same thing, talk to them because they can probably walk you through it. I tell people all the time, if you want to ask me, even though I'm still going through it, man, talk to me. I'll tell you. You know, I have some family members going through it just like we're going through it. And we're doing the best that we can with what we have. So
Thank you for joining, Annette. And I'm going to put this disclaimer out there. We are not medical experts. We are not dementia experts or experts of the brain or aging experts in any way. Again, we're experts in our experience. So we are sharing our experience with you. We ask that you do your own research. And if you could help someone that's going through this journey, like Annette said, feel free to comment, add it to the comments. She's still going through it. They're still going through it. So any support you could provide would be greatly appreciated. Talk to medical professionals as you will and do your own research. Again, this is our disclaimer. And with that, I would like to thank you all for joining Pregnant at 48, the things your mom didn't tell you and your friends don't talk about. So thank you, and we will see you next time.